Sometimes it feels like the noise around us drowns out the quieter moments that matter. This is 10 Better Minutes, a space where real stories that often go unseen find a little room to be heard. Each episode shares recent examples from the world around us that remind us life holds more than what the headlines show without ignoring its challenges. Today's stories invite you to notice the steady, softer rhythms that keep going beneath the surface. But first, I want to begin with a story about a woman in Moncton who has spent more than a decade bringing bicycle joy to neighborhoods through a simple act of generosity. In Moncton, a woman named Krista Richard has been collecting donated bicycles and children's tricycles for 14 years. She fixes them up and from April to October runs her Bikes and Trikes for Everyone program on Sundays. Families who cannot afford to buy one get a chance to pick up something solid, something that actually rolls, and something that can take a child outdoors instead of just staying indoors. What makes this feel so special is that Krista does not treat the bikes like items that simply get handed over. She also makes room for connection. She has a small team of volunteers who help mostly with collecting, and she sometimes keeps adult bikes too, because when parents can ride alongside their kids, the whole neighborhood experience feels more shared. Last year alone, about 400 children were on her waiting list, which tells you there are a lot of families ready for a good start. You know that feeling when a door quietly opens and suddenly you can breathe again. This is like that, only it is pedal-powered. Hundreds of children, including some waiting, get their first real bikes. And when they ride, they also bump into neighbors, wave, ask questions, and spend time outside together. The kind of everyday togetherness that starts with a simple gift and grows into trust in people. Sometimes the most hopeful changes begin with something as simple as a door you can call your own and a routine that feels steady. This story asks what support could look like if it helped people rebuild confidence, not just shelter them. Social Bite partnered with the Salvation Army to open Harriet Gardens in the west of Scotland, a small homeless village built around calm, one step at a time living. The plan is modest in size but clear in purpose. 15 one-bed nest units, each with its own bathroom, paired with shared spaces like a gym, a community room, and cooking facilities where daily life is practiced, not assumed. Staff from the Salvation Army are on site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, offering practical help while also being present for emotional support and guidance. The setting matters too. South Lanarkshire has about 1,500 residents considered homeless, and local accommodation has been described as expensive and not always equipped to help people build the confidence, relationships, and stability they need to move forward. Harriet Gardens, which cost about $3.5 million to build, aims to replace chaos with structure. Residents take part in weekly activities that support skills, well-being, and healthier rhythms, all while working toward independence and eventually moving on from homelessness. When Jacqueline Fernie, a homelessness and housing manager for South Lanarkshire Council, visited in Edinburgh, she was looking for an approach that could be shared. It is not a promise that everything becomes easy, but it is a quiet insistence that people deserve space to grow and support that stays close. There is something quietly hopeful about watching care turn into companionship, especially when the work is as careful as it is loving. Today, we are stepping into a story of rescue, adaptation, and a new kind of family formed on the shoreline of human help. Sunny was found alone on a Sillamar State beach, about 2 weeks old, small enough to feel utterly dependent. Rescuers brought the young Otter to the aquarium of the Pacific, where another orphaned otter named Ray was already part of a surrogate initiative guided by the Monterey Bay Aquarium. The plan was not to rush anything. It was to give Sunny a steady beginning and give Ray the role that mothers instinctively fill, even in unexpected circumstances. After Sunny and Ray were transferred to the Otter Rehabilitation Center in Long Beach, their bond became the heart of the program. Staff noticed Ray teaching Sunny how to forage, how to test the world with patience, and even how to work with false crab shells that mimic real sea otter food preparation. Those small lessons mattered because they were the difference between surviving in captivity and learning to thrive with purpose. What lifts me most is how hope shows up as practice. Sunny was not simply kept safe. Sunny was helped to learn. And Ray, through her quiet teaching, reminded everyone listening that tenderness can be skilled and skill can be kind. Sometimes the sweetest kind of help looks simple, like someone choosing to see your potential before you fully feel it yourself. That is the heart of what people call the Michelangelo effect. It is the idea that partners and loved ones can bring out the best in each other, not by fixing everything, but by noticing what is possible and then showing up with practical encouragement. In the cleft care world, Operation Smile has been doing that kind of steady, hopeful support since 1982, helping more than 500,000 patients around the world. One part of the care plan is surprisingly playful: bubbles. Before surgery, bubbles can soothe anxiety and turn an unfamiliar moment into something a child can anticipate with curiosity. In speech therapy, a volunteer speech therapist in Peru, Milagros Rojes, uses bubbles to help practice lip and breath control, so speaking starts to feel like learning, not fear. At home, smile bags extend the rhythm of support with a mirror, a language booklet, and those same gentle bubble tools. What really lifts me about this story is how belief becomes a routine. Lilia was born in 2020 with a cleft lip and palate in Puebla, Mexico, and she received 2 surgeries there. Today, she is a healthy 5-year-old, and she is clearer and more confident in everyday conversation. The message is not that growth is instant. It is that when someone gives you time, tools, and cheerful confidence, you start meeting your own voice. It is striking to see how something as simple as a shared sense of responsibility can change a community's day-to-day reality. Here is a hopeful look at what is happening in Jamaica, where people are choosing to step closer to public safety. In a parliamentary address, the Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, shared that Jamaica recorded a sharp drop in murders alongside a surge in police tips. According to his remarks, tips increased by 94% last year, with many citizens offering information even when no one was asking them to collect reward money. Dr. Chang called it a peace dividend, rooted in patriotism and trust. He also pointed to the numbers behind the shift. Jamaica had more than 1,100 murders in 2024, but the total for 2025 fell to 673. That means, for the first time since 1993, the annual total was below 700. What stands out is how the change seems to be carried by ordinary choices. People made contact, chose to be part of the solution, and trusted that law enforcement could act on what they provided. And then the streets reflected that movement forward, with homicides falling by 40%. For listeners, the reflection is clear. When citizens decide to show up, even in small and practical ways, hope can become measurable. The promise is not just safer neighborhoods, but the space for children and businesses to grow with more steadiness. As always, I have a wonderful tip for you to help with your mental reset and to invite a little more ease into your day. Today's tip is simple, and it is honestly powerful. Look for one easy way to make someone's day lighter. Here's the idea. Pick one person you will interact with today and decide in advance that you will leave them feeling a touch better than you found them. Not by fixing their problems or forcing positivity, just by adding a small moment of kindness that lands in real time. It can be as small as a genuine compliment about something specific, like, "I really liked how you handled that conversation," or "that was thoughtful." It can be a quiet check-in like, "How are you doing really?" And if you do not know what to say, try this. Offer a brief act of help, Hold the door, carry the bag, reply to the message you have been putting off. Give someone your full attention for 30 seconds. When you make space for someone else's comforts, your own mood often follows. Try it today and notice what changes in the room when you choose lightness on purpose. Well, friends, that is the end of today's 10 Better Minutes episode, and I just want to say thank you for sticking with me to the end. If today felt heavy at times, I hope these small, steady stories left you with a quieter kind of proof that goodness and decency still show up, sometimes in plain sight, in the things people do for one another. If you want a few more good stories to come back to, please subscribe or follow 10 Better Minutes with new episodes every day so you can clear a little noise from your day. And if you have a link to a good news story or a local positive moment people might have missed, share it in the comments. I truly appreciate it. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.